Without further ado, let's begin the celebration. We present the class of 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, the faculty, administrators, and trustees of Oklahoma City University. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise for the national anthem and remain standing for the invocation? Our national anthem will be led by Sarah Jo Martin, who is receiving her Master of Music today from the Wanda Bass School of Music. You'll find the words to the national anthem on page 40 of your program. This morning's invocation is led by Charmaine Danyelle Motte, who will be receiving her Master of Arts today from the Petree College of Arts and Sciences.
Will you join me in a moment of prayer? Loving God, we thank you for your presence with us today. We show you gratitude for giving us the courage to continue with our education. We are and will be forever grateful for the opportunities that were afforded to us. Generous God, send us your grace and love as you bless the graduates that stand before you, along with their friends and family who have supported them through their journey. Bless the professors and the mentors for their encouragement and guidance. Without them, we would not be here today. Bless the institution of OCU. There will always be a special place for the school in our hearts. Merciful God, we ask that you help us not only to be successful in the career paths that we have chosen, but also to make us stewards of you and give back to our communities and enable us to have the same opportunities that have been given to us. In your name we pray, amen.
You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of Oklahoma City University, Robert Henry.
Good afternoon and welcome. First a triumph, then an error. The triumph is the alarm did not go off in our undergraduate ceremony. I just saved you all 2 minutes of agony, of those that went there. And the tragedy, or the error, was I misstated. Our baseball team is currently ranked 1, and as of the time the provost and I left, they were ahead 6-0. And our women's softball team is 2-0, and they are ranked number 1. So it's kind of interesting to have multiple things going on at the same time, but it's always like that at Oklahoma City University. I am delighted to have you here. I'm delighted to have one of our trustees, Martha Berger. I wouldn't introduce her except she's chairman of the audit committee, and so a person of real power. But she is a remarkable graduate of this place and an outstanding trustee, and we're so delighted that she is here. Well, as I mentioned this morning, we're extremely proud of our university faculty. They've distinguished themselves in so many ways this year. And the highest faculty honor presented by the university is the Outstanding Faculty Award. It is governed by a demanding jury. The previous winners of that award evaluate the nominations and select. And it's become the tradition here at OCU for the Outstanding Faculty Award winner to give the speech at the graduation commencement, the graduate graduation. We are very pleased to have Associate Professor and Chair of the Department of Psychology, Dr. Melissa Hakman, with us today. She is a native Oklahoman, and she's been part of our faculty since 2008. Prior to coming to OCU, she began her teaching career at the University of Richmond before joining the faculty at Western Kentucky University, where she received the Outstanding Teaching Award in Psychology. She is responsible for our CAST program, the Child Advocacy Studies Training Program, the only of its kind in Oklahoma. This program provides students with specialized training and multidisciplinary responses to child abuse and neglect to help prevent child maltreatment cases from being overlooked or mishandled. She has also expanded the undergraduate psychology internship program. A new doctoral program in clinical psychology is slated to begin in the fall of 2018. I'm very excited about this program. It comes at a time of great need in Oklahoma and in our country. It will prepare students to provide evidence-based psychological services to address a range of client mental health needs. We are very privileged to have Dr. Hakman as part of this community, and I want to congratulate her. I want you to please join me in welcoming this year's Outstanding Faculty Award recipient, Dr. Melissa Hakman.
Thank you, President Henry. Faculty, parents, families, graduates. It's a great honor to speak with you all today. I hope that in the short time I'm up here, I can impart some words of wisdom to you. Now, as you just heard, I'm a psychologist. Specifically, I'm a clinical psychologist, which means that my area of specialty is in the assessment, diagnosis, and treatment of psychological disorders. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey, we came here for a commencement ceremony today, not a therapy session. I promise it will just be me talking and not you. I will share my thoughts and feelings with you, and you won't have to worry about telling me, how does that make you feel? As I was thinking about what I wanted to say today, I thought, what in the world am I going to say to this diverse group in front of me? We've got students from a variety of majors and departments, all going their separate ways after today. Not to mention family members who have flown across the United States and perhaps even across the world to see their loved ones cross the stage. So it's no small task to find that one message that will resonate with all of you. However, I do hope that by sharing a few stories from my life and their lessons, that all of us, not just the graduates, can commence on a new portion of our lives. Even though today is all about our graduates and the pride that we have in them, it's also ceremonies like this that can say to anyone who attends them, you too can start anew. What I want to talk about today is how we go about in our lives answering the question, what is living the good life? Past all of the research studies and psychological theories, much of what we're searching for is the answer to that question. Now, I don't profess that I have all the answers, but I'm going to give it a shot. The good life, it's a subjective term and can be interpreted in many different ways. To me, the good life does not mean a perfect life. It means a life well lived. Let me share a story with you from my life. I had just begun teaching and had received back my first set of course evaluations from my students. Now, I thought the course had gone reasonably well. Sure, there were some bumps along the way, but nothing could prepare me for the very honest and sometimes too honest remarks in those anonymous evaluations. Because my experience had not gone as well as I had hoped, I started to question whether or not I was destined to teach. I asked myself, was I cut out to be a teacher? Was it something I could really do? And by chance, around the same time, I had been going through a box of memorabilia from when I was much younger. In the box, I found a piece of paper. What was written on that piece of paper was a note that said, I will be a teacher someday. Thinking back, I was always destined to be a teacher. You see, even when I was very young, I enjoyed playing school with my sister. It was one of our favorite things to do. Now, if you would ask her, she may have a different opinion of my teaching abilities, given all of the unwarranted black marks I so freely gave her. But just finding that piece of paper with that simple message written by myself long ago, it gave me the strength and resiliency to keep going as a teacher. So the first key to living a good life is to create your own destiny and pursue your passions. For all of you, especially the new graduates, you will have times in your life where you'll be doubting if you're on the right path, doing what you're destined to do. What seemed easy will become hard. You'll face harsh criticism for things that were your fault, but oftentimes not. When things get rocky, have your own piece of paper, anything to remind you of why you chose that path. There will be critical junctures in your life, ones where you'll be just one step away from greatness, and it will be up to you to forge ahead or quit. That's when you need your own metaphorical piece of paper, that anchor that tells you, you can do this. So part of living the good life is to do things that you're destined to do, even during times of doubt. My next story comes from my first year of graduate school. In my first year of graduate school, I was assigned to the marriage and family team. This team used a live supervision approach, which meant that you had anywhere from first-year clinical students to fourth-year clinical students, plus faculty sitting behind a mirror observing your work. They also used a co-therapy approach, which meant that you were assigned a co-therapist. I was assigned with Rob, a fourth year, and for all intents and purposes, a seasoned clinician. I, on the other hand, was just a first year who had never provided therapy nor been in therapy. The best I had seen was on television, and I can tell you that's not even close to the real thing. Well, one night, Rob and I were supposed to confront this couple on some issues. Rob was sick, which meant that this beginning first-year student was going to be flying solo. I sought feedback prior to the session from my faculty supervisor, John. When I asked what I was supposed to do, he kindly said, "You'll figure it out." Needless to say, I was not very happy with that response, and quite frankly, thought he had lost it. But I went ahead and I saw the couple, and lo and behold, I did okay. When I came out, John smiled, saying, "I told you you would figure it out." Looking back, that was the best thing he could have ever done. You see, he wasn't worried about whether it was a perfect therapy session, but instead he wanted to give me confidence to trust myself, that I actually did have the skills to do it. From this, I took away that your textbooks, and yes, even your professors, don't have all the answers. You may not think that you're ready, but you are more prepared than you realize. You just have to be tested. Life will be a series of tests where the answers are very much unknown, but it's only by embracing that unknown and getting thrown in the middle that you'll figure out just how prepared you are. I believe things happen for a reason. You might not know it, but you'll discover it later in life. What you thought was an insurmountable goal or an impossible task was in reality a test to demonstrate just how far you could push yourself to go. I tell you this, that when faced with uncertainty, dive in head first and go along for the ride. You'll discover far more about who you are than if you had stood on the sidelines. I'm reminded of the words of Martin Seligman, a well-known psychologist, who can sum up this sentiment best. Life inflicts the same setbacks and tragedies on the optimist as on the pessimist, but the optimist weathers them better. Choose to weather the challenges ahead in life as an optimist, one that can see each challenge as an opportunity to be tested and forged from it. So don't let fear or challenges stand in your way. Instead, work hard. Maintain a sense of courage and optimism, which contributes to a good life. My last two stories come from my practice as a clinical psychologist. A parent had brought in her young boy for psychological evaluation due to concerns about his emotional functioning. In doing the clinical interview with the parent, she disclosed that her son worried a lot and that this was affecting his ability to excel in school and with his peers. Following the interview with the mother, I then saw the child. In my interview with him, he disclosed that he worried a lot and he thought he was the only one like that. I happened to make a comment where I indicated that there were other kids like him too. Later that day, when I met with the mother to provide feedback from the evaluation, she said that over lunch, her son said an unexpected thing. He said, "Mom, you know what? There are other kids out there like me." Her son's outlook had changed. He was no longer viewing himself as an abnormality, but instead he was just like the other kids. That simple statement made an impact on that little boy without me knowing the time what impact it would have. Our words, even the smallest, most offhand comments, can have a great impact on the lives of those around you. You'll be in situations with coworkers, managing others, your family. How you say something can have a positive or negative impact on someone else. How you talk to an employee, a customer service rep on the phone, whomever, your words will have a greater impact than you know. Make the choice to speak with kindness, with grace, and with understanding. Not just now in 2017, but in all times. People are looking for others to be a source of good and compassion. You can be that model through your words and actions. You too can make a difference, which is part of living the good life. Now, my final story comes from a therapy session with a couple. This couple came in arguing and continued to argue in session, now get this, about whether cornbread is really bread. I really don't know if cornbread's really bread, but I had to stop and listen to understand what the true issue was. It wasn't that they were really concerned about the answer to that question, but instead the underlying issue was that one person felt as if their voice was not being heard. By the end of the session, they realized they had spent a considerable amount of time arguing about something they really didn't care about, and in fact realized that the time they had spent arguing was time that they would never get back. That's my final piece of advice that I want to give you all. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't waste your time on trivial matters, whether that being worrying about things that you cannot control, arguing about things that really, in the grand scheme of things, don't matter, like is cornbread really bread, or spending too much time ruminating about the past. At the beginning, I posed the question, what is living the good life? Carl Rogers, a noted psychologist, said, "The good life is a process, not a state of being. It is a direction, not a destination." Inherent in this observation is that the good life is not measured by material worth or some state you're miraculously going to arrive at one day and say, yep, today is the day I'm living the good life. It's a process. The good life is not a perfect life. You're going to have times that bring you happiness, joy, satisfaction, but you will also face challenges, difficulties, and obstacles to overcome. It's your choice in how you live your life and how you deal with those challenges and obstacles. Psychologist Albert Ellis put it a different way. He said, "The best years of your life are the ones in which you decide your problems are your own. You don't blame them on your mother, the ecology, or the president. You realize you control your own destiny." To the graduates, their families and friends, to my fellow colleagues and welcomed guests, celebrate the positive moments. However, when things are going tough in your lives, remember the real reasons, those slips of paper for why you chose that path, and choose to persevere through whatever is blocking your path. Remember that you aren't always going to think that you're ready for whatever life throws at you. Know that it's a test, and you're more prepared than you think you are. You'll learn something about yourself and come out even stronger. Ultimately, how we choose to talk and relate to others is a lesson we must always relearn. Our words and actions will have a lasting impact on others, and it's up to us which ones we choose to use. Living the good life requires making a conscious choice to make a positive difference in the lives of others, and it's up to us to decide what will matter in our lives. We can choose to let the small things bother us or take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Today is commencement, not just for the class of 2017, but for anyone who chooses to commit to living a good life. Congratulations to the class of 2017. May you go forward today and have a life well lived. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have asked one of our outstanding opera majors to speak to us as a graduate student, for the graduate student portion of this program. Christine grew up in Middleville, Michigan, where she and her 5 siblings were homeschooled. She earned an Associate of Arts and Associate of Music degree from Grand Rapids Community College in Michigan, where she was the 3-time winner of the Academic Achievement in Music Award and the 2-time winner of the Choral Music Award. She went on to pursue her Bachelor of Music at the New England Conservatory in 2011, where she graduated with academic honors. Between earning her bachelor's degree and earning her master's degree, she worked for 2 years as a general manager of a newly established restaurant in Michigan, where she helped them establish company policies, analyze sales, and identified areas where profitability could be increased. She's in the voice studio of Larry Wade Keller and the coaching studio of Charles Koslowski. She is graduating today with a Master of Music in Opera Performance. During her time here, she's been inducted into the honor societies of Phi Kappa Lambda and Phi Kappa Phi. Christine has performed in OCU's productions of La Rondine, The Juniper Tree, Operations, and all the while working as a full-time manager at McAllister's Deli. We thank her for giving the address to you today.
Thank you, President Henry, distinguished faculty and board members. Thank you for those of you who have invested your time and efforts into helping each and every one of your students grow and succeed. In particular, I want to thank Dean Parker and Dean Belsick, Dr. David Herendeen and Karen Miller, my amazing voice teacher, Larry Keller, my coach, Chuck Kozlowski, and to all the outstanding faculty and staff at the Bass School of Music. To my fellow graduates, congratulations. We can finally sleep. I know that's something that I've probably been more excited about than anything else. I seriously wouldn't even mind if you fell asleep during my speech because I completely understand how you feel. I also wanted to thank my incredible family and friends for their constant love, support, and prayers that have guided me through all the highs and lows of the last 2 years. And speaking of highs and lows, I have a little bit of a funny story for you. The same day that I found out that I was being asked to speak at graduation today, I was at work and I was coming out of the office, and we have this big garbage can that sits outside. And I'm rounding the corner and I'm moving way too fast like I usually do. And there's this piece of bacon on the floor. You can already tell where this is going. I slipped on it and I tumbled into the trash can. So I went from like here to like literally in the trash can. I was really hoping that wasn't going to be like a bad omen for how this speech was going to go today. While I was so honored to be asked to speak at graduation today, I was also completely freaking out. I was trying to envision myself standing up here in front of you all today speaking, and I couldn't even imagine what that would look like because ask any one of my teachers, I'm not the one who talks in class. I'm the one that, you know, at the beginning of classes and you go around in a circle and you say your name and it's really just your name and it's not a big deal, but I'm the one who's freaking out. I'm watching as it's getting closer and closer to my turn, and I'm trying to stay cool, but my heart is pounding and I'm freaking out. So you can imagine how difficult it was for me to envision this today. I was trying to think about what I could possibly have to say, and I was completely stuck. And then it came to me. Why was it so hard to figure out what to say? I am a perfectionist. That's a word that I don't like to use very often. For many people, perfectionism seems like it's something so great. It means that you have everything figured out, that you're perfect, right? But for me, perfectionism also has negative connotations. It's been the paradox that I can't resolve. It's been my greatest strength, but it's also been my greatest weakness. Throughout my years in college, people have constantly asked me, why do you care so much? They've told me grades don't really matter. You don't have to get straight A's. You don't have to be perfect. That's been a phrase that I've heard as far back as I can remember. It's something that my mom has been trying to teach me since I was probably about 2. I think I was literally born trying to be perfect. She would tell stories about how when I was a baby, she could literally leave anything out and just tell me not to touch it, and I just wouldn't ever touch it. I wouldn't even look at it. And as I got older, this perfectionistic trait became more prevalent. I pulled a ridiculous amount of all-nighters in undergrad, and I would literally cry if I got less than 100% on an assignment. I may or may not still do that from time to time. I pushed myself to the brink in everything that I did, and it seemed like a good thing at the time. But then when I transferred to New England Conservatory in 2011, this constant overexertion started to take a toll on my health. I got really, really sick. I was diagnosed with a very serious autoimmune disease. It's a thyroid condition called Graves' disease, and within about a month, my life completely changed. I had a resting heart rate between 120 and 140 beats per minute. Without changing my diet at all, I gained 40 pounds within a month because it caused so much swelling in every part of me. I was fatigued and it hurt to even move. This isn't something that I ever talk about, and actually there are a lot of people who don't even know this about me. 1, because I really hate talking about myself, and 2, because there was a kind of guilt that came along with this, because my doctors told me that my illness was largely brought on by stress. And I knew that a lot of that stress was the stress that I had placed on myself, the stress to be perfect. I knew that I had to start making a change, and so after graduation, I took some time off to focus on my health. And without the added pressure of school, I started to make improvements. But after about a year, I started getting antsy to go back to school, and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but I was actually missing homework. and studying for tests. I guess I'm just a little bit of a nerd. But then I found Oklahoma City University, and I was so excited. It just seemed like the right fit for me. But while I was so excited to come here, I was also really, really scared. I was really afraid that if I came back to school, then I would get sick again, that I wouldn't be able to figure out how to balance my desire to do well without being such a perfectionist, and I was afraid of relapsing. I struggled with the questions of, if I go back to school, how can I care less? How can I be less than I am? Aren't we supposed to strive to do well? The answer is yes. We have to push ourselves. We have to persevere. We have to care, because if we didn't care, none of us would be here today. We wouldn't be here graduating with our master's degrees or our doctorates, because you can't achieve anything without hard work and perseverance. But how was I to do that without getting sick again? But you know what I learned while I was at OCU? I learned that I didn't have to be perfect. I just had to be the best version of me that I could be. That what I had to offer was enough, that I'm unique, and that it is good. One of these epiphanies happened to me during my checkoff class with Lance Marsh, and I never told you this because, again, I'm painfully shy. But he was talking about audition monologues and how you can't expect them to be the same every day because you're a different person every day. He said that some days you're going to go into an audition and you're going to be exhausted, or you're going to be sick, or you're going to be really, really nervous. And he said, don't ignore those feelings because they're a part of you that day. He said to embrace them, to use them. You'll never be perfect, but that you could be the perfect you that day. And that spoke to me more than just on an acting level. That told me that I didn't have to be afraid of my imperfections. They are a part of me, and I could embrace them. Another valuable lesson I learned was from my incredible voice teacher, Larry Keller. Through my lessons with him, I learned to trust myself. I learned that my voice was unique and that I didn't have to try to make it something that it wasn't. He also taught me how to celebrate the small wins. I learned how to focus on the progress instead of the perfection. This idea of uniqueness was ingrained in me further through the intense audition process at the Bass School of Music. My fellow musicians will understand when I say every semester you audition again and again and again and again, and you're surrounded by so many talented people. And at first that was really daunting for me because I saw how much more talented this person or that person was than me, and I felt inadequate. But then I began to realize that I was here for a reason too. I was there because I had something unique to offer, so I began to embrace my uniqueness. I also learned through all the auditions and callbacks that if I made a mistake, the world didn't end. That it didn't mean that I had failed at something, it just meant that I had something to improve on next time. I'm not perfect, I'm a work in progress. So today, I just feel so thankful that God led me to OCU so that I could begin learning one of the lessons that my mom tried to teach me long ago, that I could be a high achiever without being a perfectionist. The fact that we're all graduating today with master's degrees and doctoral degrees means that we're all high achievers. We're probably all perfectionists in one way or another, and that's not something to be ashamed of because it can be our biggest strength. It can push us to achieve things that we never thought we could. But what if instead of striving for perfection, we strove for excellence? What if we still give 100%, but we accept our humanity? How much more can we accomplish if we have the work ethic of a perfectionist without the fear of mistakes? We learn from mistakes, so embrace them. Embrace your uniqueness because that's what makes the world beautiful. Celebrate the small wins because life is about progress, not perfection. So with that, congratulations, class of 2017. Thank you and God bless.
We are now ready to confer the degrees. Will the candidates for the master's degrees please stand?
There they are.
President Henry, on behalf of the faculty of Oklahoma City University, it is my privilege to present the 2017 candidates for master's degrees.
Thank you, Provost Buchanan. By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Oklahoma City University, and upon the recommendation of the university faculty, I confer upon you the master's degree with all the honors and privileges that pertain thereto.
Thank you, President Henry. Graduates, you may be seated. Will the candidates for the doctoral degrees please stand? President Henry, on behalf of the faculty of Oklahoma City University, it is my privilege to present the 2017 candidates for doctoral degrees.
Thank you, Dr. Buchanan. By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Oklahoma City University, and upon the recommendation of the university faculty, I confer upon you the doctoral degree with all the honors and privileges that pertain thereto.
Graduates, you may be seated. You will be directed to the stage by the faculty marshals.
The names of our graduating students will be announced by Dr. Robert Griffin.
As you cross the stage today, after receiving your diploma and shaking hands with President Henry, we invite you to seal your covenant with Oklahoma City University by placing your hand on the gold star located on your right as you exit the stage. The original gold star stands as a point of honor atop the Gold Star Memorial Building constructed in 1954 for the Oklahoma Methodists who were killed in service to their country. We invite you to celebrate this tradition at Oklahoma City University. Dean Amy Cataldi and Associate Dean Helen Godin will hood the candidates for master's degrees from the Petree College of Arts and Sciences. Summer Catherine Prentice. Eva Helena Amegbo. Jennifer De Leon. Kayla Thomas. Ashley Kervin Bobier. Andrew Underkoffler. Hirofi Aniwer. Charmaine Motte. Emma Kim. Alicia Collier Mumba. Pang Chi. Sarah Sultan. Ying Dai. Ding Chao. Eun Zhou. Eun-hee Lee. Hyun-ho Yoon. Song-un An. Hyun-soo Kim. Joo-hee Lee. Haesang Kwak. Chong-il Lee. Amel Shadid. Brittany Paik. Samantha Fish. Kristen Salter. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Education degrees in Applied Behavioral Studies from the Petree College of Arts and Sciences. Taylor Goyke. Laura Luke. Stephanie Wangler. Megan Wright. Shanna Pope. Aaron Lofties. Shatira Voth. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Fine Arts degrees from the Petree College of Arts and Sciences. Janessa Renee Cruzan. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Liberal Arts degrees from the Petree College of Arts and Sciences. Sunsini Parker. Megan McEwen. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Science degrees from the Petree College of Arts and Sciences. Jabria Say. Edna Diggs. Dean Steve Agee and Assistant Dean Bob Greavy will hood the candidates for master's degrees from the Meinders School of Business. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Science degrees in Computer Science from the Meinders School of Business. Triharsha Anapatula. Sunish Reddy. Shruti Ravi. Fani Raj Bokya. Deva Prasad. Sandeep Kumar Mandalupo. Preeti. Sheetal Tamara. Supriya Sudala. Pargari Palagri. Gorang Solanki. Mohammed Sultan. Shura Kumar Sagu. Mirza Mujtaba Valabeng. Arpita Sama. Ramshi Krishna Reddy Padi. Sachit Sidam Shetty. Sai Parat Reddy. Shrika Reddy Singha Reddy. Vishal Gude. Sai Diraj Aluri. Amani Dogopati. Koteswara Rao. Fani Kumar. Teja Akala. Maha Lashmi Onugu. Malidipsai Jakula. Dean Lois Salmeron and Associate Dean Linda Cook will hood the candidates for master's degrees from the Kramer School of Nursing. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Science in Nursing degrees from the Kramer School of Nursing. Sherilyn Bolin. Charita Maria Chavez. Avery Catherine Fisher Cunningham. Dorcas Otieno. Kathy Talone. Robin Ann Wittenberg. The following graduates are receiving their Doctor of Nursing practice degrees from the Kramer School of Nursing. Courtney Dahi. Faith Ann Hope Gray. Caitlin Hiddle. Darylyn Doublehead. Chelsea Reel. Tanessa G. Pinkerton. Matthew John Jones. Sarah Buster. Inhe Grace Kim. Katie Pankowski. Valerie Rochelle Estes. Sky Huang. Shelley Simmons. Josephine Otu. Delphine Kulu. Becky Pata. George Abram Thomas. Jermaine Calhoun. Stephanie Michelle Kramer. Stephanie Moore. Stephanie Mowdy. The following graduates are receiving their Doctor of Philosophy degrees from the Kramer School of Nursing. Mohammed Bajer Habib Ali. Mohammed Bakr Al-Jubri. Wiam Nasir Al-Boedi. Salim Fake Al-Rujub. Ronak Barwari. Janine Kelly. Carrie Strouk. Stacy Swim. Sherry Wainscott. Vanessa Wright. Dean Steve Agee and Assistant Dean Bob Greavy will hood candidates for master's degrees from the Meinders School of Business. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Business Administration degrees from the Meinders School of Business. Omar Al-Agridi. Joshua Boyland. Caleb Brown. Biplab Chowdhury. Idara Douglas. Jared Quinn Edwards. Harrison L. Guy. Sherry Hayworth. Liane Do Hua. Kelly Lawson. Morgan Kelsey Ledford. Genevieve Alexia Lopez. Kelly McWeston. Joseph Llewellyn Meredith. Tommy Nason. Vitalina Novak Johnson. Jie Pang. Alexander Payne. Evelyn Pino. Erwin Pino. Kyle Reynolds. Millicent Rusin. Sukshit Satish. Matthew Assis Senemar. Matthew Kyle Sewell. Kyle Springer. Karina Vadas Ramirez. Chihang Chan. Keyan Chao. Yishuai Chu. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Science in Accounting degrees from the Meinders School of Business. Carrie Barber. Stephanie Michelle Cassidy. Daria Lee Cook. Michelle Kroll. Adrian Hubbard. Christopher Jenkins. Josh Klausner. Tyler Conorick. Jason Murray. Jessica Prefume. Miranda Ryburn. Jasmine Nicole Sauls. Kayla Sue Wink. Shu Shu. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Science degree in Energy Legal Studies from the Meinders School of Business. Shelby Brown. Megan Browning. Christina Beering. Thomas W. Crawford. Brian Gaddy. Trisha Isbell. Danyelle Medina. Ross Philip Morissette. Haley Beth Price. Tara Roberts. John Ezekiel Sanchez. The following graduates are receiving a Master of Science degree in Energy Management from the Meinders School of Business. Sayad Al-Khalini. Morgan Bardwell. Andrew Bartell. Glenna Brower. Matthew Brennan. Jeff Craighead. Jason Curry. Prescott Davis. Amy Gill. John Paul Gonzalez. Jean Hale. Leslie Heckenlively. Josh Hendricks. Brian Lee Martinez. Elizabeth Matson. Frederick Peter Njema. Charles Osborne. Amanda Phelps. William Allen Orland. Elaine Pumphrey. Blake Richardson. Joe Schenberg. Anna Smith. Christopher Don Wells. Cheryl Wilson. Kaylee Johnston Rauna. Dean Mark Parker and Associate Dean Mark Belsick will hood candidates for master's degrees from the Bass School of Music. The following graduates are receiving their Master of Music degrees from the Bass School of Music. Jordan Maurice Andrews. Henry Michael Bayless. Brian Belanis. Aline Boyd. Joshua Cooper. Aaron Coleman. Jonathan Curtis. Kelsey Dawn Dormies. Charlotte Dumini. Emily Rebecca Eubanks. Joseph Aaron Fitzgerald. Darren Michael Heath. Benjamin Hopkins. Christine Noel Lutz. Sarah Joanne Martin. Jonathan David Murrah. J. Ryan C. Robinson. Samuel Schlievert. Jeremiah Stevenson Titsworth. Daniel Felipe Taborda Higuita. Rebecca Ann White. Congratulations to the class of 2017.
We now present the Oklahoma City University Covenant. It is a pleasure to introduce Sarah Jo Martin, who has been awarded her Master of Music today from the Wanda Bass School of Music, University Marshal Terry Phelps, and Alumni Board President Chris Black. They will lead the Covenant responses found on pages 40 and 41 of your program.
Would faculty please read along with me? Just as parents raise their children to leave them, teachers hope to make their students wise enough that we become superfluous. A true teacher has succeeded when a student lives his or her education. We will have taught you well if you know that intelligence is important, but wisdom is vital. Don't just go and do, go and be men and women of virtue.
Class of 2017, please join me in the response. We have learned much more from you than the syllabus covered because you have taught us by example. We have learned that knowledge is power, but character is enduring. Thank you for not just doing your job, but for being our teachers.
Alumni, please join me in the response. We all once stood where you now stand, thinking mostly about the future. But as alumni, we know that the past is prologue to the future. Don't forget the gift you have been given here. Find a way to give something back to this community that has given so much to you.
We will not forget. As we join the unbroken line of OCU alumni, you can depend on us to think not just about where we're going, but about where we came from. We pledge to honor Oklahoma City University and uphold the United Methodist tradition of academic excellence, spiritual development, and service to others. We are not just OCU graduates. We are now proud OCU alumni.
Please stand for the benediction, led by Benjamin Joseph Hopkins, who has been awarded his Master of Music today from the Wanda Bass School of Music. Then join together in singing the Alma Mater, led by Samuel Schlevert, who has been awarded his Master of Music today from the Wanda Bass School of Music. You can find the words to the Alma Mater on page 41 of your program.
Let's pray. We thank you, Almighty God, for the opportunities you have given each of us and for directing our paths in your wisdom. You brought us here for a purpose, and now on this day we celebrate the culmination of all the work and time invested by both students and teachers. Thank you for Oklahoma City University and all the faculty who have worked diligently to nurture and strengthen the gifts and talents you've given us. As we enter this new season of our lives, we ask that you might give us the wisdom and the faith to trust you in all things and reflect your love to those we encounter. May we also never forget from where we've come, so that we stand firm in the strong foundation you've given us. As we go forth this day, let us pursue this new chapter with a fire in our hearts and a humble spirit. Thank you for blessing this wonderful day, and may we glorify you in all of our success. We ask in the name of Jesus, amen.
Steps in all that
we proudly present the Oklahoma City University graduates of 2017. Please remain seated during the recessional.